and welcome to episode 17 of the Dirty Side of the Grid podcast, where we've turned up late to qualifying, but since our episode is called Drive to Survive, we're moving up to the front of the grid. I'm Yusuf, and this is my co-host Mohammed. And today we're going to be reviewing the Drive to Survive series.
Yeah, this is probably the first time you've done the intro in one attempt.
Exactly.
Which is very impressive.
Yes!
As you can tell, clearly Netflix is rubbing off on him. So
Yeah. The reason I actually came up with that is I did actually call our show once, Drive to Survive by accident.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's one of the, if you haven't
Exactly.
seen it, you've got to watch that. That was a great intro. That was good.
It came out very wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Maybe next year you'll be doing the little interviews in that black room. I've got such a funny meme about that I saw on Twitter like literally just half an hour ago. But anyway, yeah, we're reviewing season 4. We binge watched it over this weekend, even though we're both incredibly busy. We somehow managed to fit it in, and we're going to share our opinions on it.
Overall thoughts. Let's start with overall thoughts. Not a specific episode. We can do kind of a rundown of the episodes, but kind of overall thoughts compared to last season and kind of compared to what you expected.
Okay, well,
How was it?
in general, we'll start off quickly by saying like we're both long-time F1 fans. We've been watching it for a very long time. We, like most people, we watch the stuff. We know about this. We watch Drive to Survive mainly for their like extra access they get. So like the little dinners, the little comments they have in between stuff, like those special interviews that only they get access to. But I just feel like they've completely missed the point this season. Like,
There's a lot of like footage of the cars driving and stuff, but that's not why you're watching it.
here's the thing, like it's just so I watch TV shows half asleep. Like it doesn't matter how good the TV show is, I won't remember what happened and I won't like analyze it to the level that pretty much the average person will. I'm just half asleep anyway. It doesn't matter how good it is. With this one, like even I noticed, like I feel like they've missed their audience. Drive to Survive from season 1 was trying to get new fans into the sport.
Yeah.
Cool. Which means that they have to give context to what's happening.
Yeah, pretty much everything that's
Yeah,
happening.
so what you're saying is like, oh, here's Ocon and Yuki, for example. We'll get onto them later in the episode, but like, here's Ocon and Yuki, here's who they are, here's where they came from, here's why they have a rivalry, and here's what happened in the rivalry.
Exactly.
That's cool, but the problem is we're 4 seasons in now, and most of these Drive to Survive fans, it worked so well, they love the sport so much, these guys watch testing. Like, I hate testing, I've never watched testing in my life. I've been watching F1 since like 2009.
No one watches testing.
I don't watch testing, like, these guys, they watch testing, they're following the drivers, they're everywhere, they're buying the merch, they're getting tickets. I still, like, it costs the price of a family holiday to go to an F1 race, and most of these people have been to an F1 race before I have. Obviously, there's financial situations involved, but, like, they really care.
Yeah.
So to spend half the season just giving context, Will Buxton saying very obvious things, and then like constantly.
Let's not even
like,
bring him up.
It's just repetition. Like last year, oh yeah, we like Gunter Steiner. He swears a lot. He's funny. Haas are really poor. They just need to get through this season. Maybe they'll do better next year. What have we done this time? We've spent like 50% of an episode going Haas are
Not
really
even
poor.
50%.
They're struggling.
A
Or
full
the
episode.
a
full
full episode. And then the same thing with Williams. Like we'll get onto like an episode by episode breakdown later, but like there's another episode about Williams are really poor. They're struggling for money.
But
wouldn't it be great if they scored points? Like it's.
But
it's
the
just
Williams
boring.
one I actually like. The Williams one I actually think is one of the best episodes because it had kind of an arc of the struggle of Williams, what they've been going through and stuff, till they scored points. So that kind of arc was interesting.
Yeah, you always had to end that arc once they
So,
scored the points. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very interesting. But in terms of overall, what I thought it was very repetitive, very generally boring overall, and I thought that they could have done so much. Like even the Haas episode, I think was interesting because there was so much behind the scene footage. Whereas,
There was a couple moments in the Haas episode, yeah.
but like say like the last 2 episodes, like generally speaking, like the Mercedes Red Bull stuff, it's just the stuff you watched on track.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I wanted a season review, I'll just go watch like that like 5-minute episode that talks about what happened in the race.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if I
Why-
wanted
why
to
am
know
I-
what
why
happened in the
am I
race, I
watching-
would have watched the race.
Exactly.
Which, the thing is, most of the people watching Drive to Survive now have seen the race.
Exactly. Why am I watching a 1-hour episode where you're not adding anything. Like a lot of the stuff, like say the Yuki stuff you're talking about, that was interesting because they showed kind of what he's been doing, why he was struggling, how he got better.
Yeah.
They showed a lot of behind the scenes footage and
Moving from Milton to Italy and stuff.
that was interesting.
Yeah.
But like with Ocon, I never got why they're talking about Ocon. They're like, he's a junior driver. Well, he's been in F1 for like 4 years. How is he
like,
a junior driver? In what
It was a
world?
weird comparison to make, and they didn't highlight enough the time he spent outside.
Exactly.
Because obviously he's one that in 2018 he would have been in the first series.
Exactly.
And then it was mentioned that he left out, like he missed a year, and then came back again. So like, literally just even within the Drive to Survive universe, he's a character that's been followed.
Yeah.
So like,
When
to not
introducing
highlight
all
him
that
is
again,
yeah, exactly. Like just starting again from zero with Ocon. Everything like that's just the perfect point. It sums it up. Everything's introduced as if it's new again. Like, you see F1 tires, you need to pit so you can go faster. Like, I get giving an introduction to F1 strategy so people understand what the pit stops actually mean. But you did that in season 1. Most of these people have been watching F1 now for like 3 years.
I guess they're thinking, you know, if one guy watches season 4, doesn't watch season 1, maybe he needs context. But the level, you know, like he was like, I remember the one thing that stood out was Will Buxton trying to explain what double waved yellow flags is. Just like,
yeah, bro. It's just like the problem is like even then like a mate I know like literally last week just started watching F1, and they've started on season 1.
exactly.
Like everyone starts from
season
season
4.
1 and then carries on. So realistically, even if you don't watch a single F1 race between season 1 and season 4, the context is given. And if you really want more information and if you really want more context, just go watch a 5-minute YouTube video. Like there's loads of videos explaining. Even we've done we don't have a huge online presence, but we've explained F1. So like there's videos out there. So for Netflix to use their 10 hours of content that they get like exclusive access to all the teams and then use it having Will Buxton explain what qualifying is, it's such a waste. Like it's such like we're not trying to be like, it's very easy to just hate on Drive to Survive and stuff, but we understand it's had a big impact on the sport. It's just we didn't organise this. We weren't like, I didn't know your opinion walking into this, but it's just
we specifically didn't speak about it just so we kind of aired our opinions now, you know. It's kind of like very raw essentially. But I think like, okay, let's go like, do you want to go episode by episode? Or I'd say the last thing I'd say is some of the episodes like the McLaren one, and like someone messaged me, like one of my friends messaged me, was like, why are they making out Ricardo and Lando to be like they hate each other? And it's like Ricardo and Lando aren't the greatest of friends, but the relationship is quite good compared to like other drivers where it's been like the way they make it out, you think, you know, it's like, I don't know, Nico and like like I'm trying to imagine if they had access to Nico and Lewis, what would happen?
That would have been so cool.
Like, bro,
they would have completely
exactly, they would have ruined it. But like, as in that is kind of the context of what they're doing. But with Lando as well, I think it was last year, they tried to make him out as if he was like fighting with Carlos as well. It's like, I don't get like this, like, it might be cool for people watching. Like they're creating drama where there is no drama, which is in a season like this season, you really don't need to do that.
Yeah, it was a bit unneeded.
And I feel like they also missed out on like very big points. Like some of them were very, like they spoke about Spa and stuff, which was good. But they also missed out on the fact that there was no race. And they missed out on like the podium. Like George got his first podium, and they mentioned George and was it Sakir last year?
Yeah, they finally gave that.
Bro, last year, how did you not mention the guy drove like an incredible race? Like the behind the scenes of kind of the relationship between George and Valtteri, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was.
Why are you bringing on track stuff? Like just cover the behind the scene. I want to know why they hate each other. I want to see them hating each other. I don't want to see them on track. He's at the end and he's at the front. Obviously, there's going to be nothing except that one incident in Imola.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Because after they put, like, we'll get into the episode in a minute, but, like, once they've mentioned Imola, you can't say, this George and Valtteri rivalry is going to be massive on track, and then it's
No.
like Valtteri starting third and then George in 12th, and then nothing happens because obviously they're not going to be on track next to each other, so what's the point? And then even then, Sakir was so emotional for so many people to watch him like get in the car, overtake Bottas into turn 1, overtake him again after the pit stops, all of that stuff, the puncture, so emotional, him crying afterwards. And then it was given like a 5-minute montage, like
Not even 5 minutes.
or the 30
It's
seconds,
literally just
whatever it was.
mentioned.
Like
It was literally just mentioned.
it's such a miss, but we'll.
I think like they did cover the whole like Mercedes kind of driver, like what's happening there and stuff like that. That was like when they covered it with Valtteri, so that was interesting. But I think overall, like if we kind of summarize overall, I think they showed too much on track stuff that you can just access on YouTube.
Yeah.
They did not show enough kind of behind the scenes stuff. I did not like the kind of storylines that we're covering. Like I think it could have been way better. Like if they covered different, because there were so many other storylines to cover, and I think some of the episodes were just subpar. Like the last few episodes weren't good. The McLaren episodes were boring. The episode covering Danny Ricciardo was very boring because it did not add anything new to a driver who everyone knows. Like if you watched one season of Drive to Survive, you guaranteed
Yeah,
Daniel
he's
Ricciardo.
a big
You know
character.
him very well as well.
Yeah.
So I don't get why they're covering his struggle, because like you could have literally done that in the McLaren episode. You didn't need an episode to cover it like him. Like it's boring, man.
There were also, on top of that, there were some characters that, just quickly before the episode by episode breakdown, we just got some of the stuff missing. Like big events last year. There was Spa, like you said, which wasn't a race. Abu Dhabi, will get into how that was
Baku.
portrayed. Baku as well. There's like a lot of the drivers as well.
They didn't speak
completely
about
missed.
Sergio winning again. Like
Yeah,
his first
Perez
win
is
for
win.
Red Bull.
Got it. So Kimi nowhere. Giovinazzi, I mean, I understand he's not mentioned, but he's not there. Perez, there was very little on. The rookies were given some time, to be fair. Stroll didn't see his face once.
Vettel did not see.
Vettel, like, yeah, just saw his face like a couple times.
Leclerc as well. You didn't
The
see.
Ferrari drivers would have been so nice to see a little
Yeah,
bit
you
more.
didn't see like that was a good episode to cover like their relationship and how it's actually kind of growing together and stuff.
Yeah, there was like a little bit of them driving around Monaco together, which was quite nice. And I could tell,
Yeah,
I
but
liked
I
their
already
relationship.
saw that video. That video is literally like available. Was it on YouTube or something? I literally
Yeah.
saw that footage before. It's not new footage.
That was a lot missing there. Ocon was obviously shown. Alonso was shown for like 5 seconds.
Like I would have been way more interested in seeing Alonso come back and why he came back, and that type of thing,
Very true.
rather than see like them talk about like Ocon. No one cares. Like sorry, like with all due respect, but no one cares about Ocon.
It would have been better to give more context because Ocon's already been covered, I guess, as we mentioned.
Yeah,
so
and the
Alonso
way
would
they
have been
covered
nice.
him was like he's a new junior driver. He's not. He's actually been driving in F1 for so long, and I feel like they didn't give like his win at Hungary they didn't give it justice. Like they didn't cover it as much as I thought they would cover it.
True. Yeah.
Like-
you could. I feel like the format's a bit rinsed. Like the last thing they mentioned, Gasly. There were just a couple clips of him. Would have been nice to see him a bit more.
Especially
just
since
like
he's
Gasly.
actually done really, really well this year as well.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
he's so consistent.
He's so likable as well.
The only thing they mentioned is him where his agent's like, there's a Sea Mercedes, and he's like, maybe I should start learning German.
That's what I mean.
That's
More
the
of that
only
would
thing
have
they
been good.
mentioned. Like, I don't get like why are we seeing Ocon speak with his family and not seeing like. I don't care what his family's saying. What the hell, man? You wanna get the episode?
Alright, yeah,
this time?
let's go episode by episode and then we'll
Yeah,
see
but
what we
list
can
of
get out of
episodes.
this. I do, and I've got the titles. So
Okay.
we'll start off right. So episode 1, Clash of the Titans. As always with Drive to Survive, episode 1 is just hyping up the season, and then they have the first half an hour just building context. Oh, this team is so bad, they're struggling. Oh, these are the underdogs, and then you have them trying to win in the second half, which is. It's just rinse and repeat. Like literally every single episode follows this format. The first half an hour is this team is bad. The second half an hour is, all right, let's see if they win or lose. So Clash of the Titans is basically just Red Bull versus Mercedes in Bahrain. We see Red Bull and Horner and his unhealthy obsession with Mercedes, Toto, and winning. Horner just constantly, like in front of his kids. I'm pretty sure this is the episode where he has a little conversation with his kids. He's like, "What do you wish for?" And like. You know, she says like, "Well, a guinea pig or something," And he goes, "Don't you want Max to win the world championship?" like I know he's doing that to be funny in front of the cameras. There's no way they actually do that a lot. But it comes off a little bit like obsessive.
I think like overall like Christian Horner in Drive to Survive is just annoying.
Yeah, he gets a lot of screen time.
Toto gets a lot of screen time as well.
He does this season, but like across the whole thing,
Christian Horner just like he spoke so much about, and it's all about Mercedes. And I get like it's just I don't know like, you know like when after like the whole incident in Italy, you see like Toto's like, I don't want to hear what they're saying on social media and stuff like all of that, and then like the opposite was like Christian Horner like banging on social media for so long. Man, it just annoys me. Like he irritates. Red Bull in general sometimes like just like they're a good team and everything, and you like them, but sometimes they're just like irritating.
Yeah, I'm like I tried my best. Obviously, like I said at the start, like because we've been watching F1 and stuff, we've seen loads of interviews of these people. We've seen the way they've grown, where they've changed teams, and what's happened to them, and like the context behind their story. So it's very hard to look at Drive to Survive with a fresh pair of eyes and then say, all right, this is how this person's portrayed. They're meant to be made out as the good or bad person or whatever it is. With Horner, I was trying so hard to be like, if this was my first time seeing Horner, what would I think? But it just like, in the back of my mind, I still had his like unhealthy obsession with Mercedes, and it just reinstated that fact. Like
even his wife gets like so like surprisingly his wife, Toto's wife gets a lot of. They get a lot of like.
They got more interviews than like 50% of the grid. Like exactly. They were talking a lot.
But I guess it does give a bit of context, because the big fight this year was between Max and Lewis and also between Toto and Christian. Yeah. And I think what they highlighted this year that I actually liked was the amount of work and the amount of time and the level of dedication that it requires for you to lead one of these teams.
Yeah, that was.
And you saw like their whole life revolves like around F1. You know, like he's riding a horse in the middle of nowhere with his wife. He's just talking about, I hope Max wins the championship. Like, that's not what you're supposed to be talking about, is it? Like,
he was like, your horse is like Bottas or something. He goes, I'm not riding Bottas.
Like it's just like it's such a weird.
I feel sorry for them, you know. The wives must be so bored.
No, but what's her name? Toto's wife. She's a team
Susie
principal.
Wolf.
She's a team.
Yeah, of course. So she's obsessed with F1 on racing anyway. So it's fair enough. But like, to have a Spice Girl,
too much, man. It's too much.
Every day go about Max Verstappen. You feel sorry for them, to be honest. They definitely.
Yeah, the first episode for me is just boring. Like I skipped way too much through that.
I watched the full thing on 1.5 times speed, and yeah, it was like I said. So it's the build up. First half an hour, let's win. We've got to win this. Mercedes have had it too easy. That's another thing. I saw a tweet about this. Like the constant hatred of Mercedes. Like obviously I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, but like the constant hatred of Mercedes going up to people saying, hold them up, make sure you win, blah blah blah, all of this. I get it, and I get that, but like, it's your own fault, bro. Like make a faster car. Like you can hate them as much as you want, but then going up to the cameras and going, they've had it too easy, they haven't had a challenge. It's not their fault. Like just make a faster car. There's another 9 teams on the grid. Like just do better. Like.
But Christian Horner always does this thing where every episode he's like, Mercedes have had it for too long. We have to win this, and he doesn't win at the end. Like
that's why I'm saying it's repetitive.
Eight back-to-back championships. He hasn't won, so he must be saying to himself, "This year's gonna be different. This year."
That's what I mean. Yeah, every year
he loses again. Like it must hurt, you know. Like he's lost so many times. Like, first episode for me.
That's episode 1.
Yeah, it was boring. Like for me, overall, episode 1 was just not worth the time of watching it.
It's the same as.
You didn't add like, I think if they had like a lot of behind the scenes like footage of. Nah, that wouldn't have saved it, to be honest.
Honestly, not anything. Like, as you can tell, the recurring theme that we're going to get onto, like, not even knowing his opinions on each of the episodes, very easily you can tell the ones with the more behind-the-scenes footage, things that we haven't seen before, and things that go into depth about these storylines, that's what makes a better episode. Not, like, scratching the surface and saying, this person won. Like, that's, like, anyone knows that already.
I would have been interested to see like stuff behind the scenes, say Lewis preparing for the season, with Red Bull as well, like with them doing better at testing and like seeing a lot of behind the scenes footage of that. Seeing a lot of behind the scenes footage of post Baku, what he's doing, post Italy, post Silverstone, what Max. Obviously, Max wasn't in it, so you can't say about that. But like stuff like that, where a big incident happened and get them to speak about it. That would have been way more interesting, because you're seeing kind of, they're offering you insight into something that we don't have insight into. That would have been way more interesting than just, they're basically, this is my issue, is they're rehashing what we've already watched. With you with like dramatic music and I had to win or I'm gonna lose my contract. Oh my god. It was boring.
The music was more annoying this year.
Exactly.
Like it was so much more annoying.
I don't get that. Like, it's just like, you know those dramatic YouTube videos. It's like, it's produced by a 2-year-old.
What it is? You know those like those football YouTube channels where it's like a top 10 crazy things that happened in the last 10 minutes of a match. You got like Ronaldo about to take a free kick and a plane crashes in the stadium in the thumbnail. Like that's Drive to Survive. It just sums it up.
It's too much, man.
So yeah, no, we'll get on to. Okay,
I don't think it's the worst episode. I think they're worse episodes.
Well,